After the fashion show in Ponyville a while back, Inky Rose has started working with Coco Pomel in Manhattan as her assistant, and she loved to work there with Coco Pomel. After all, it was actually Rarity who had offered her a chance to work in Manhattan, and even though Inky Rose never expected to work there, but she took this opportunity right away as an offer. And even around the same time, she has been only been working there for about a year. She had gained so much popularity among some of the residents in town and even outside town. She had even gained a lot of new friends there. But there was this one other opponent that she knew quite so well was actually Lily Lace, another fashion designer who was actually a part of the same fashion contest as her, as Inky Rose were. And it happens that Lily Lace actually went to see Inky Rose from time to time in Manhattan. They had actually been started becoming very good friends, and they had been pen pals after the contest. Then there was something that happened. Inky Rose had been started seeing this particular stallion. He was actually a musician in Bay from Manhattan, and it was going so well between them. But there was something about their relationship. Because after they'd been dating for about 6 months, something started to had in changing up between them. Like her boyfriend started to reveal telling her that he can't see her because he had some other plans to do or something he came up with, which often do happens. So she didn't buy much pay much attention to it. So she told him that they can always arrange something else later on, which they did. This was actually only happened for about maybe once or twice, which is normally didn't happen. But then this pattern started to change almost from 3 to 4 times per week. And at first thought maybe that he just busy with some practice on his own music or that he's teaching of others because he was working as a music instructor. So she didn't pay much attention to it. But one day, one of the customers in the store came in talking about some random things. But one of the mayors actually brought up this particular topic. She had been seeing this particular stallion. He was very handsome, and at first Inky Rose didn't pay much attention. Only that she believes that she met some pony that she likes. But then she started to describe some more details about him, like he was a musician. Okay, not so much alarm bells going off. Like there were many other musicians in town. But when she described how this particular stallion looked like, even the cutie mark, it was her boyfriend. This mare had been seeing Inky Rose's boyfriend behind her back. At first, she maybe must have heard wrong, but after that, this mare did explain more details and even told where he was teaching. It was a last drop for her. This mare had just described where her boyfriend works and how he looks like, and that he is the same pony who has been seeing this particular mare behind Inky Reynolds' back. But she acted like normal. And that the same day when she was going to meet Inky Reynolds, her boyfriend, at the park, Inky Reynolds waited there for him, just like casually, acted normally. But when he came and arrived, she first started acting like normal, not herself. They talked for only a few minutes before she told him that she knew that he had been seeing on the mare behind her back. And he was shocked. How did you even know about that? He asked. Then she revealed the truth that that his new secret girlfriend was in the shop earlier that particular day, and she told her friend about this particular stallion. Because at first she didn't pay much attention. After that, she revealed that he's a musician, when and where he works, including how his cue mark looked like. And that surprised him. So then Inky Rose asked him why he did this. She thought that he loved her, and he did. But after seeing this particular, be meeting this mayor a few times, apparently this mayor was actually around the same age themselves, and was a student of him, or at least someone who was needing some help. And it took her shock. She then told him never come talk to her ever again. She didn't want to ever see him, and she left without he could say anything else. And in fact, that was ever the time that she even saw him. From what she heard next though, he quit his job as a music instructor in Manhattan and moved to Baltimore, including taking this mayor with him. And only the last thing she heard, only about several months later, they were engaged. And they were even expecting a baby within a few months later. That shocked her even more. It made her so heartbroken. She even told Coco Pomel maybe that she could not barely work anymore. Even Coco had realized something was off, or something was wrong. She tried to ask her, but Inky Rose, they didn't even want to talk. But she revealed what has happened to her, and Coco Pomel was shocked. But she told her she will find some pony else to be with, some pony that will treat her even better than her ex did. And Inky Rose did hopefully thought maybe that could be possible. But there was something about this though that she almost had given up hope to even find someone or some pony to be with. But she just wanted to be with someone, some pony that treats her with well and kindness and not being cheating on. She had even told us about this information to Lily Lace, who had recently moved to Manhattan to start working as a fashion designer for another one. And she was really devastated for her friend. And even though they were close friends, they started hanging out together mostly as friends after work. They often went to a restaurant to eat something, or just went to either Inky Rose or Lily Lade's apartment to have something just to eat or just talk. But around the same time they really just spent some time though, Lily Lace has started to have some feelings for Inky Rose. But she never told her that, because she didn't want to bother Inky Rose after this recently breakup with her. And she didn't want to hurt her even more. Or perhaps she didn't believe that Inky Rose could have been in love with somebody like a mayor. So she never revealed this. And of course, Inky Rose, after about 2 weeks after, 2 months later, she decided maybe to try to go out dating again. So she started first to do some blind dating with some friends she had, but never worked out. She even tried speed dating a couple of times, but there were only perhaps one or two stallions that could have had potential to be a long-term relationship. But one of them didn't work out as well, and the second one lasted for about almost at least a few weeks before they decided no longer see each other. So after this almost a failure, Inky Rose had almost devoted herself not to be with any pony any longer. But after that her friend Lily found out, she would not have been happier. So wasn't even happy. She saw that her friend was even more depressed over all the failures she had in her dating. Dating, for her, was probably like a curse. She even had mentioned this to Lily, that she believed dating for her was like a curse. For example, as her first boyfriend did to her after that he'd been cheating on her. She believed maybe that she was not meant to be with dating at all. But then, Lily revealed something that she had probably shouldn't have done in the first place, but she told her that she had feelings for her. And but after Lily had said so, Inky Rose was just staring at her. But before Lily can say anything else or Inky Rose can respond, Lily just left. She went actively to her apartment, and she didn't leave for the next 2 days though. Inky Rose. For the first time in a while, she had no idea about these relations or these feelings that her friend had for her, or at least what to do, how to react to this, respond to all of this. But after a few times of thinking about this, she decided to go see her friend and talk to her directly. At first, Lily heard it was Inky Rose at her door and pretended not to be inside. And Inky Rose were actually about to leave when Lily, by accident, sneezed and she heard that. And then she knew there's no word to try to act that she wasn't even home. So she opened the door and she told Inky that maybe that she didn't want to be talking. But Inky Rose said that she wanted to talk to her, what she told her. So they went inside her apartment, where they sat and talked for almost like felt for hours, which only brought for about maybe 30 minutes. But there was something about this though. After their short talk, both actually had agreed to start dating, just to see if it's gonna work, because they didn't want to reveal this information to the public or to some of their friends and family, just in case if they did find out. And they decided to go out to the movies or see a play within the next few days. And they had this amazing time on the play. Both of them actually felt somehow this was right. This was something that was meant to be. So, after the play was over around 7 p.m., they went to a small restaurant nearby to have something to eat, which they talked most about the play, and they actually agreed. This was actually very romantic. And even after the dinner, they went to Lily's place for they stayed for only about an hour or so. But apparently an hour ended up almost to late night, to almost 4 a.m. 4 in the morning, when they both realized they had been talking so long. And Lily, she had no idea what to do though, and she could not send home Inky Rose this particular late in the morning. So she decided to let her friend stay over. So she did. And for the next couple of days, things between them was actually started getting better and better. Things between them were as different now. As they were now dating, seems to be working between them. They told only handful of their friends about this big news. Everyone was actually very supportive, including Inky Rose's boss, or supposed supervisor, Coco Pomel, who was a bit surprised, but she was really happy for her friend to at least find someone to be see. And of course, after about almost a year of being dating, Inky Rose was at the store at the shop normally when she heard the door open. She saw, and it was actually the mayor that her ex-boyfriend married a year earlier. And she was now with her ex-boyfriend also. They saw her, and Inky Rose just smiled and said that welcome to the shop, and if they need any help, then please let her know. Even this was a quite awkward moment. But her ex-boyfriend actually walked up to her desk and they start talking. They both agreed this probably was really awkward, but he told her that he didn't meant for this breakup to even happen in first place. He never expected to have such beautiful student, or at least someone that needed some help with their musical training. And she understood. I mean, she admits that his new wife was actually quite beautiful, and she did blame him though. Even though in the beginning she blamed him for all this happened. She even blamed her ex-boyfriend for all the failure of her dating in the past. But she had moved on and she forgave him. But then she told him that she had been dating herself for past year. And he told them that it was a great news. And he even asked who this particular stallion were. At the same moment, the door opened and Lily Lace walked in. And she said, "That's her. Wait, you are dating a mare." That was something I never expected to happen, though, he said. But he was just smiling and said she was happy that he had moved on and that she had moved on to find someone to be with. But in fact, Lily Lace and Inky Rose had been engaged for the past 6 months. Even though they have been dating for about a year, but had been engaged for only 6 months. But they have promised each other not to get married to at least have been dating for probably 4 to 5 years, or at least, or something like that. And of course, after they've been dating for about 4 years, they decided maybe it was time to get married. But there was just one small problem. They didn't have the finance because they wouldn't have a big wedding to invite all the friends, all the families from across the question, or at least from like the parents and some other distant relatives like cousins or so. And it would cost some more than that. Even Coca Pomel and Rarity was offering some of the small payment for all this. But both Inky Rose and Lily could not accept this offer, but they did in eventually though. But this wedding was actually not end up as big as they had hoped for. But at least the parents and some of their close friends were invited, and it was actually a very good wedding for them both. Even if there was something that both had hoped to have a big wedding. But as it turned out after that, after they had the wedding, both their friends, like Rarity and Coco Mel, including with their other friend, Twilight, had managed to arrange for a honeymoon for them both. They had been arranged to send them both to Saudi Arabia for a whole week, and that was something both really could not have been grateful for. They felt so grateful to have such great friends, and they actually went to Saudi Arabia after they had spent several hours at the wedding party. On the honeymoon, though, things was really differently from what they expected. They never been so far away from their home, and seeing such different culture, food, even the clothing designs. Both of them was actually quite interested in some of the traditional clothing designs that the Saudi Arabians were. So, even though Inky Rose had designed maybe that they could maybe bring some of this traditional designs back home and maybe turn it into something more unique designs. So both actually started working on some designs. They actually did some working even on their honeymoon. But they had some even a great time though, because they did not only work all the time. They only worked maybe for a day or two, but the rest of the time they spent a lot with exploring, sightseeing around the town, and even met some new friends in Saudi Arabia. And after they came back to Maid Haddon, things had been a little bit different though, because this was now a new chapter not only in their lives, but also in their future. Though even though that Lily worked for that the fashion designer and Inky Rose was working for Coco Pomel, which didn't bother them. They even had to actually find a small apartment together, which they decided to live. And after a while, though, things actually start ending up quite well between at their new apartment. But after they've been married for about maybe 2 years, they want to have a family of their own, though. But there was just one small problem. They didn't have to afford to have for a family, so they start saving up some money. After about another year, they had enough to have the care of a baby. So they had actually asked Twilight for help. And of course, Inky Rose wanted to be a mother first, so Twilight decided to help them. And after that, Inky Rose was really happy that she found out that she was actually pregnant. But it was something else. They were even was really happy that they were expecting a daughter, and they were start talking about a potential name for a daughter. Even there was quite several names they came up with, but there was one name they had thought was right. And a few months later, their daughter was born. And their daughter was named Gabbana Rose. Gabbana Rose, though, she was like her parents. She was quite interested in fashion as early as a filly. She even decided to help her mom, Inky Rose, at the shop where she was working. And she was quite interesting about this. This actually made her interest for fashion even more stronger, because when she was about 12, she had made her own designs of a dress or something similar, and she showed that to both her moms and to Coco Permel, and they all was actually very impressive about her new design. And they thought maybe that they could probably do this and sell it in the store, like in the shop. Of course, they asked her, their Gabbana Rose about her permission if they could do so. And she said yes. She was actually very happy that they were able to do so. But they were not sure if these designs would sell in a large amount, so they made only a short storage, like from perhaps like 10 dresses. But when the customers walked in and saw these new designs, they actually bought almost an entire collection, which Gabbana Rose was really excited for that moment that made her passion for fashion even stronger. She even made some new designs that her moms worked on and even sold in both shops, and it made her name as a fashion designer spread out across the country, or mostly in Manhattan. And even Rarity, though, she was really impressed about her design skills. And of course, when Cabana Rose was about 18, she decided to work with Rarity for a short time because to learn more about fashion from her. And it paid off quite well, because after that, she was hired by Fancy Pants in Canterlot as one of his top young fashion designers. And she took the offer right away. And from that moment, her dream to be a fashion designer had came true. And even though it took a little bit while before any of her name was so well known in the entire kingdom, she was okay with that. Even it took her perhaps maybe years before to be well known, recognized. But when she was about 22, she fell in love with a musician from town. And in fact, they actually got married after they'd been dating for about almost 2 years. They even had two daughters of their own, though. 5 years later, they wanted to have another baby. So they decided that Lily Lays to be pregnant this time. And she was willing to be so. And she had a daughter by the name Asteric Adore. She was very interested in fashions like her mother's and her older sister. And from the moment that she was young, and when she was introduced to fashion, she quickly was falling in love with it. She even had developed her own style based on Gothic style. And since she won a contest in Manhattan about some of her own Gothic designs, it had became quite popular among the others in his school who also liked the same type of music. And she decided to focus on Gothic lifestyles, or at least fashion designs for younger generations. And after she was old enough, she started working for her mom, Lily Lace, to work on some new designs. Even though were not this particular store that she worked on didn't sell much clothes for Gothics. But when she introduced these designs to the store's owner, at first she believed that maybe they weren't going to accept it. But they were actually designed to accept it. And she sold a lot of her designs. And even the Manhattan's Gothic youth actually loved her designs. She became well-known fashion designer within the Gothic community. And some of her designs even were sold in Manhattan in her mom, Inky Rose store. And of course, a lot of things was going about between her fashion designs. But when she was about 25, she had fallen in love with another stallion. And they actually got married after being dating for about 4 years. And he was also working as a librarian in a local library. They even had two sons together after they were had together though. And this is how Lily Lace and Inky Rose, for their true love, got a family together. The end.